Okay, so here I wanted to start from the beginning. So I went to the backyard and grabbed the one picket fence, which is about eight 8 feet um, long. Took all the panels off, um, and then here I'm gonna be chopping off the bottom part of the fence. Um, since it was the part that was on the ground, it was pretty much rot. So I'm taking them all off, and then after doing that, I'm taking the nails off the top part of the pickets. The bottom nails, I didn't have to take them off because I pretty much cut them all off when I cut the rotten part at the bottom. So here, hammering them down and then turning them around and pulling them off. Boom. Okay, next I had to take off the top part of it. At first I thought about using them for the table, but I just couldn't figure out a way to put them in, or I didn't really try, so I kind of skipped it. Now these boards were really old and dirty, so I had to clean them up. So I started by taking one side of the boards off about maybe a quarter of an inch. So I did that to all of those, and then I decided to trim them down to about an inch and a half. So I cut an inch and a half, so I was getting 2 pieces out of each picket. So there's the pile. I think it was about 50 or 60 pieces. Then I had to clean up the sides, so I trimmed off maybe an eighth of an inch of each side. So at first I had to do one side of the boards, then I had to move the fence a little bit back and cut the other side. After doing that, I grabbed the 2 long pieces that go on the fence, and I was gonna use these for the legs. So I cut them, I think it was about 32 inches. So I cut 4 pieces, I believe. I don't think I recorded cutting them all, but I skipped on to start to make the tabletop, or at least the design. So I had a different design in mind when I first started, but then it was gonna take me a long time, so I decided to go with this one. It's a little more simple. So what I did was I started in the middle and worked my way out. So I put some glue at the bottom of it, and then put some staples. Like that. And then I just kept going. Put some glue, staple, glue, staple. And here I am. I jumped over to the legs again while the tabletop was drying, the glue. I'm working on the legs, so I got the 4 pieces at 32 inches, and I'm cleaning them out. So I'm cleaning one side, and again here the glue is ready. So I'm jumping over to cutting the pieces of wood that are coming way too far, so pretty much to make a nice clean rectangle. There you go. Turn it around, and there it is. That's the tabletop. And again, I jump to the legs, and here I am cutting off a little section that will be the part where I will joint the legs together. I do one side and then I do the other side. I put one bar that goes across on the sides, so you'll see. what I'm talking about in a little bit. Here I'm just using the chisel to cut off the excess, and then I'm bringing it to the workbench and putting them together. So I'm using some screws to put this together. I drilled the holes, then I drill a bigger hole that's not so deep so the screw could go in. And here I'm cutting the pieces that go long ways on the base of the table. So I need two, one for each side and then two for the bottom. So I was able to get them all out of these two pieces. So I think I cut it at about 2 inches. Is the top one. So here you can see the top parts. I just glue them, staple them on top for now. Now here I have the base assembled, and the tabletop I just set it on top for now. But here I start sanding off because some of them were taller than others, so I had to do a lot of sanding. I think I spent at least an hour sanding this top. And then move to the smaller grit sanding, make it a little more smooth, and just go back and forth, back and forth. And more sanding. Sanding the edges a little bit around. Okay, here after sanding, there was all the holes that the staples made that I tried to cover as much as I could with some filling. Any bigger holes that the wood had, I also covered. Any edges that were too deep, I tried to fill them as much as I could too. And here I am working on the sides of the table. These are pretty much to hide or to make it look a little thicker, the top part of it. So I had to sand these really good. These pieces I actually from an old palette that I found, and I just cut them to length and then sanded them and then stained them to make it look a little better. This is the front part that I'm working on, and that middle part is where the drawer is gonna go. I think I had recorded the drawer, but I don't know what happened to the footage. Here I'm nailing them in to the table with pocket screws or pocket holes. So what I do is use a drill and push it down at about a 45-degree angle, and then just put the screw downwards. So I put 3, 1, 4, 5, 6 screws per side. Here I cut smaller pieces to put on the sides. This one was a little too big, so I had to go and cut it, and it fits a little better. So I just push it in. Make sure it was nice and flush. And here's the final product. Painted the bottom white, and I put some polyurethane at the tabletop, so makes it look for protection and makes it look shiny. Oh, there's the drawer. This drawer I found on the streets of a desk I found somewhere, and yeah, so this is it.